There may be things that you're doing on an everyday basis that you don't even realize you're doing. We live in such a fast-paced world that sometimes we just need to slow down and ensure we look at how we're communicating with all folks, especially those with cognitive impairment. My name is Anita Urban, and I'm the Director of Community Engagement for Paragon Home Care. And today we're going to hit 4 areas that I think will be helpful for you to explore as you're walking with your loved one through the dementia or cognitive impairment scenario. Number 1, verbally. What we say and how we say it in the tone of voice we use makes a big difference. I can say good morning or good morning, and just those 2 ways are either very welcoming or not so welcoming. When I was working with my dad, there were days where I was stressed out with work and I would come home to see him, and he could tell whether I had a good day or a bad day just by my tone of voice. So another great example is when we're trying to get somebody to take a shower. Are we asking them or telling them it's time to take a shower? Or maybe another better way or more effective way could be, today it's your spa day. Let's go get ready. That's more welcoming, it's more enticing, it sounds more fun, and it sounds like they're going to be more pampered in that space versus than a shower. Number 2, nonverbal. Our facial expressions really make a difference. Smiling, making eye contact make a difference versus not looking at somebody. Hand gestures are a great way to get folks to come with you. It could be, come with me, let's go take a walk. That's an easy way to use verbal and nonverbal in that setting to get somebody to come alongside of you. Sometimes another nonverbal way to get somebody involved is if we ask for permission to use some physical touch. Some people are more okay with physical touch than others. So we should ask about physical touch and then use that if that is a space that somebody is welcoming. Some people like a hug, some people don't. It really just depends on their history and where they're at in their disease process. Number 3, visual. Sometimes signs can be very appropriate to help somebody understand something that has cognitive impairment. A great example is if there's a picture of a toilet outside the bathroom. The picture of the toilet might cue them that that is a space that I need to go in and use the restroom. Another great way is to make a sign. Maybe there's a sign on their dresser that says, this is where my socks are, sock drawer, underwear drawer. That allows them to read the sign and hopefully become more independent in those skills of finding the things that they need earlier in the disease process. Sometimes we can use written notes from families. As somebody gets further along the disease process and they're looking for their loved one, sometimes we can ask the family to write a letter to that loved one so that they know they've not been deserted, they're coming to see them, and that everything is okay and they're in a safe place. Those are the first 3 ways that we can communicate. The 4th, though, is through behavior. And I think this might be one of the more powerful ways that our residents or our loved ones communicate with us. All behavior has meaning. When somebody is agitated or having a hard time, they're not doing it to make you and I frustrated. Typically, it's an unmet need. What does that look like? It could be pain, it could be hunger, it could be thirst. Those are some basic needs that sometimes people can't communicate as they go along the disease process. My dad got to a point in the disease process where he wouldn't shower. My dad was always well kept, always shaved, always well dressed. And one of the hardest things for me to see was that my dad wasn't taking care of himself. And when I had to communicate with him, it took me a few times, at different times of the day, Morning may be better versus evening. You have to learn your person, and it's in learning them that you'll be more effective. So for my dad, he always showered in the morning. But as he went through the disease process, that wasn't a good time for him anymore. So we would look at lunchtime some days. And some days I was more successful than others. And that's okay. We can't beat ourselves up as care partners that we weren't successful getting them showered every day. It's really about joining their journey, walking side by side with them, and trying to find ways to connect with them in that moment to make them successful at that point in time. Was I able to get my dad shaved and showered? Some days, but not all days. And that was okay, because that allowed him to have a little bit of control in his disease process. If you would like some respite care for yourself as the care partner, please do reach out to Paragon Home Care at www.paragonhomecare.com, and we would be happy to walk alongside you and your loved one during this time.